again, we've been so busy the last few days, we really ain't had a chance just to really sit down and process it. But, you know, now that we're at this stage right now, again, all my guys, my investigators, Tupelo, Chickasaw County, you know, everybody's the same way. We just kind of in disbelief because this was a 16-year-old child, you know, and I've got kids, grandkids that's almost that age. So, again, it affects you just like it affects the community.
Tupelo police are investigating the death of a 16-year-old girl whose body was found in the trunk of a car. The discovery was made around 3 a.m. Tuesday morning after the car had been left in a daycare parking lot. What began as a call for a welfare check quickly turned into a murder investigation. Now detectives are working hard to piece together what really happened.
The suspect apparently transported her body from the Yuma community after she was deceased to Tupelo.
Denasia was 16 years old and lived in Houston, Mississippi. Denasia was described as fun, loving, and caring. She was a sweet girl that loved to have fun as long as it was with her friends and family. According to reports, the teen was involved with a 19-year-old by the name of Labrandan Tumblin. Reports didn't go much into detail about the nature of the connection. However, Denasia's family told the local news she and Labrandon were dating. Labrandon lived in a different area than Denasia and already built a reputation with the law. He was indicted by a grand jury last September on an armed robbery charge and was awaiting sentencing. It was not made clear how long Denasia and Labrandon were connected and how they became involved. Unfortunately, some things in this case will never be known due to unfortunate circumstances. Earlier this week, Denasia had her family worried when they didn't hear from her after leaving the home. Luckily, they had safety measures in place that allowed them to track her location. But once her parents noticed Denasia was still in an unusual location, police were alerted, and what they found was extremely alarming.
The police was everywhere.
That is what residents in the central Tupelo neighborhood woke up to this morning, as 16-year-old Denasia Mcgregory was found in a car's trunk. Jerry didn't want his face on camera, but has lived in the area for years. He says the entire neighborhood was rocked by the morning's events.
It's usually quiet here, You hear cars coming through, revving the engines up and stuff, but other than violence and stuff like that, we don't have this on this street. It was a surprise to all of us to have seen something so close. Not only her, but him too. There's two lives are messed up. Well, hers gone and his is ruined, you know? And then both sides of each family now have to suffer the loss of this tragedy.
We're told after the suspect left the car in the parking lot, he went to a nearby house on Stone Street. He told one of the occupants he was waiting for his mom to come pick him up.
On May 22, 2023, a Tupelo neighborhood woke up to a heavy police presence after identifying the body of 16-year-old Denasia. Authorities closed part of Stone Street as evidence was gathered, and the search began for the suspect. We are told that after the suspect left the car in the parking lot, he went to a nearby house on Stone Street and told one of the occupants that he was waiting for his mother to come pick him up. But according to investigators, Labrandon was allegedly holding 2 women and a juvenile hostage. Negotiators managed to get him to surrender not long after police had charged him. Labrandon was charged with kidnapping, murder, possession of a weapon by a felon, and obstruction of justice.
Well, initial calls we got was a couple nights ago, and that potentially our person of interest was from Clay County, which we verified at a later date that he was. The initial questions have been exactly where did this occur at? So right now it's been boots on the ground from Clay and Chickasaw County trying to find the actual scene of the crime.
19-year-old Labrandan Tumblin is in custody and being questioned by law enforcement. McGregory is from Houston. She was found early Tuesday morning in the trunk of a car at a Tupelo daycare. Investigators know there's a connection between Clay and Chickasaw counties, along with Tupelo, which cover a lot of ground.
Everybody is working it like it's their own case because nobody knows the actual jurisdiction that it would be once we solve the crime.
Sources say some of McGregory's belongings were found outside of Tupelo, so they know evidence could be found across 3 counties.
Right now, we're just focusing on trying to get a timeline, basically the events that happened that day that led up to the homicide of this young lady. So it takes a little time to get this done.
Scott also knows people in the communities impacted can help.
We've had so much going on with this violence with guns. And again, this is just another example of it. So we're asking the public, please, if you know anything about this case or any other case out there, please contact the local agency in your jurisdiction.
Right now, investigators are still trying to determine a motive in this case. If you have any information in regards to what may have happened to Denasia, you are asked to contact your local authorities. Labrandon had already pleaded guilty to that armed robbery charge. This week, he was sentenced by a circuit court judge with life in prison.
Suspect in the death of Denasia Mcgregory had an eventful day in court today, actually 2 different courts.
That's right, Labrandan Tumblin was scheduled for an arraignment in Clay County Justice Court on a murder charge in connection with McGregory's death. But first, there was a little unfinished business in Okolona. Tumblin had already pleaded guilty to armed robbery in a Chickasaw County case and was set to be sentenced today. This morning, a circuit court judge sentenced him to life in prison. Tumblin was returned to Clay County to face charges of first-degree murder, possession of a weapon by a convicted felon, and tampering with evidence. He was denied bond. Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott says the nature of this case and the age of the victim have had a profound effect on everyone working on it.
So busy the last few days, we really ain't had a chance just to really sit down and process it. But, now that we're at this stage right now, again, all my guys, my investigators, Tupelo, Chickasaw County, everybody's the same way. We just kind of in disbelief because this was a 16-year-old child, and I've got kids, grandkids that's almost that age. So, again, it affects you just like it affects the community.
Sheriff Scott says Tumblin has been taken to Parchment. If he's indicted by the grand jury, he will then probably be brought back to Clay County, the jail, for the duration of this trial.
There's a good chance here that there's going to be upgrades in charges and potentially up to capital murder because of some of the crimes that were committed against this 16-year-old girl.
Column says other crimes were possibly committed.
There may be some sexual crimes that were committed in connection with this murder.
I will continue to keep my thoughts and prayers with the family and friends of Denasia. You guys, let me know your thoughts and your opinions down below. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and let's please respect the family and victim in the comments. I love you guys dearly, and with that being said, don't forget to check on your loved ones.